On to the final question in this paper then, question 8. It says a computer shop assembles computers using items bought from several suppliers. A text file stock.txt contains information about each item. Information about each item is stored as a single line in the stock file, right in the format where item num supply code description. And it says item num is 4 numeric characters, right? This will be unique for each item, and it's between, well, sort of 0001 and 5999. And that's going to be inclusive. Right, also supply code 5 alphabetic characters, and this is to identify the supplier of the item, and also a description, which is a minimum of 12 characters. Okay, it says the file is organized in ascending order of item num and does not contain all possible values in the range. So I mean that's saying, for example, yeah, maybe here we have 0001, but like there's not 0002. But of course there could be like sort of 0100 or something. So yeah, it doesn't have all the values. Right, then it says a program has, to find these. So we've got a supplier exists. This is already written. Right, this is called with a parameter of type string representing a supply code, and it returns true if the supply code is already in use. Otherwise, it returns false. Right, then there's IsNewSupplier. This is called with a parameter of type string representing a new supply code. It returns true if the string only contains alphabetic characters. Right, either uppercase or lowercase, right, and the supply code is not already in use, right, otherwise it will return false. Okay, so we want to write this, and it says module supplier, this has already been written and should be used as part of your solution. And right, this module supplier exists will generate a runtime error if the given parameter is not 5 characters in length. Okay, so we can see here then I've already got this stock.txt file. And I mean, the way we can get that, hang on, if again we just go to the exam questions, choose the correct year, the correct paper, and you can either copy and paste this, or you can just click on the, I think, opening code editor, and then that will automatically open it here in the code editor. Alright, but let's just go ahead and start coding this. So we want to say function, and I think it is new supplier. Right, then this here is going to take a supplier code as a string, right, that'll be the parameter, and then, we're just going to go returns boolean, right, and if we just get end function. So I think the first thing we want to check, if it only contains alphabetic characters, because, basically, right, if it doesn't only contain alphabetic characters, then we can just instantly return false. So what we can probably do, if we're looping through a string, checking character by character, usually we would want a variable, just kind of defining the current character. So let's go, current character is of type character. And I mean, this one we could do it, we could also use the ASCII code as well. And I mean, I guess I'll show you how to do it with the ASCII code or without the ASCII code. And the mark scheme does seem to accept both of them, to be honest. So let's say maybe current character ASCII. Alright, there we go, and that's going to be an integer. So what we can do, we just want to loop through character by character in the string. So let's go position, this will start at 1, and then we'll just go to the length of supplier code. Okay, right, then if we just go next position, and what we want to do, we want to get the current character. So here we just go mid, and the string is just going to be the supplier code. Right, the start position, that's going to be this pos, right, the for loop variable, and then we just want to get one character, because the first iteration of the loop, this is saying start at character 1 and then get one character. Okay, so just get the first character, but then on the next iteration of the loop, of course this position will be 2. So then it will say, start at position 2, start at position 2, in the string, and also get one character. So effectively get the second character. Now, I mean, first let's look at how to do it right without using the ASCII. So, and I mean, probably what I'll do, because it does say it's going to work either uppercase or lowercase. Now, we could check both conditions. So, for example, we check, I don't know, if it's, greater than or equal to big A, right, and less than or equal to big Z, or if it's, greater than or equal to small a and less than or equal to big Z. Less than or equal to small z, right? That would be a valid condition, or kind of a valid alphabetic character. But but that's a little bit kind of long-winded, right? Because we've got to check both of them separately, right? Both uppercase and lowercase. So instead, we can probably just convert the whole thing to lowercase, or convert the whole thing to uppercase, right? It's up to you. So I'm just going to go supplier code, and this will just be 2 lower and then supplier code. So yeah, now we only have to check the lowercase. Right, so what we can do, let's say if, and let's say we want to check if it's not an alphabetic character, because then we can just return false. So we'll go if current character, and I guess we say, right, if this is less than less than small a, right, or if current character is greater than small z, right, yeah, then we can just go return false. And yeah, let's go return false. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to return true here. I mean, just so we can test it. All right, let's see if this works. So let's go output. We'll go IsNewSupplier, and let's try. Let's try something that's valid. ABC and then ABC. Okay, so this should say true. Yeah, okay. But then if, for example, we go ABC1, right? Yeah, now it says false. All right, so this seems to be working. Now, we can also do it using the ASCII code, right, rather than using the actual character literals like this. So in order to do that, we will then go the current character ASCII. And like in many ways, this is kind of like more, well, I guess a more formal way of doing it. Yeah, maybe a better way to do it. But the mark schemes, they do seem to accept this simple way as well. So I think here then, if we want the ASCII code of a character, well, we just use this ASCII function. Right, then we get the ASCII value of the current character, and then what we're just going to say, we're going to say if the current character ASCII is less than, and this will be 97, because if you remember the ASCII codes, well, small a is going to be 97, right, and then let's say, for example, small z, well, that's just plus 25, right, so that's 122, and then, for example, if we want big A, so big A here is going to be 65. And then, well, big Z, again, we just plus 25, right, that's going to be 90. So yeah, for this method, you will actually have to remember, these ASCII codes. But here then, we want to say, yeah, if this is less than 97, right, or if it's greater than 122, right, and let's try and run this again, it should just say false. Yeah, okay, and then if we get rid of this one, that should say true. Yeah, okay. Right, so I'm just going to delete this true, but currently this is working. Okay, so we've done these first 2 parts. I guess the next thing we want to check if the supply code is not already in use. Yeah, otherwise we will return false. Okay, and we also want to check that the supply code is 5 characters, because yeah, otherwise it says that this one will generate a runtime error. If it's not 5 characters. So here then, let's just go if length. So we'll say if length of supplier code, right, and let's check this equals to 5. Okay, and then we'll say, if supplier exists equals false. Okay, because well, this means it's going to be a valid new supplier. So what is it? Supplier exists. Right, this is going to take the supplier code, and we're just going to go equals false. Okay, well then we can just go return true. Right, and then what else? We should be able to just go return false. Okay, so yeah, return false. And let's go end if. Alright, and then hopefully this will work. So let's just try and test it. The first one, here this should say false because, well, the length is not going to be 5. Yeah, okay, so this seems to work. Let's try something that is going to be new, like, yeah, I guess, are these just random? Yeah, so I think here we just have like AAA, well, sort of 5 A's, 5 B's, and then 5 C's. That's just the currently existing suppliers. And I guess, yeah, we can also see that here if we look at this, to be honest. So let's just try, yeah, ABC, all right, something new. This should say true. Yeah, okay, so this says true. And I guess the next one, well, let's try something that already exists, like 5 A's, right? This should say false. Okay, so there is actually a small little bug with this method, and the reason here is, well, this supplier exists. If you think we've converted this supplier code into lowercase, right, therefore, the supplier, right, capital A's, is of course going to be different to the new supplier code, lowercase a's. So you know, we could actually do something like, I mean, we could rearrange this where, you know, for example, we put this condition at the start, then we can assign this to some flag, and then we, you know, check this flag at the end, right? But I mean, probably the easiest way, if we just declare another variable, let's say like, you know, original supply code, let's go string, and what we'll do is, well, before we convert it to lowercase, let's go the original supply code, and we'll just assign that to be the supply code. And then what we'll do is, well, let's just go original supply code. Right, and now, I mean, hopefully now it should work. So yeah, here it says false, okay, because, well, again, this supplier already exists. Now, again, guys, I mean, obviously here, you know, there's multiple ways you can do this. I mean, this is one solution. You know, of course, if you have another solution that also works, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, hopefully this solution makes sense, and, well, then we'll look at the next part. Looking at part B, it says a new module has been defined called CheckNewItem. This is called with a parameter of type string, representing a line of item information. It checks to see whether an item with the same item num already exists in the file, and returns true if the item num doesn't exist, otherwise returns false. And it says we want to write efficient pseudocode for, well, for this module. So if we just recap, I mean, let's just scroll up here. We can see here the format where it says item num, and this is going to be, well, the first 4 digits, yeah, the first, you know, 4 characters in the string. So yeah, this is what we're checking in the file. Okay, so first let's just declare this function then. So we'll go function, let's say CheckNewItem, and this will take one parameter, let's say this will be the line. And yeah, that's going to be of type string, and then if we see here, well, we're just going to go returns boolean. Right, as always, well, let's just end function. And what we'll do, I mean, well, let's think about the variables we need. So probably we want to store the first 4 characters, okay, because, well, that's the, you know, the item num that we're checking. So if we go here, let's go item num, and right, that's going to be of type string. Now, if we're reading a file, then we'll also need, for example, the current line. And, you know, with a file, well, we'll also need the file name. Right, and I mean, we could just hard code, you know, stock.txt every time we open file, read file, close file. Yeah, or we could just, you know, assign it to a variable like this. Right, so I think that's probably all we need, but I'm going to leave myself space just in case I've forgotten something. Right, so first then let's just assign the file name, well, to the file name variable. And then what we're going to do, if we have a file, well, first we always need to open it. So this will be file name, then we say for, right, then we just say the, I guess, file mode. And in fact, sorry, no, in this case it's going to be read, okay, it's not going to be write. Right, then, well, if we're reading files, you know, we can use this same kind of syntax as always. So we just say while not, and then end of file, right, this will take the file name as a parameter. And then again, this do is optional, right, I think in the new syllabus you don't need it, right, in the old syllabus they did have it. So what we want to do, and yeah, let's say here I probably also want to get the item num, right, so let's extract this from the line. Now if we want the first 4 characters, or, you know, the first n characters, well, then we can just use left. So what we'll say item num, let's go left, this will be of line, and then we just want the, well, the 4 leftmost characters. I mean, we could also do this using mid, so if we did it using mid, we'd say, you know, we start at character 1 and then we get 4 characters. But I guess, yeah, left is a bit more simple, okay, because, well, we only need 2 parameters. Right, so I think then what we want to do, let's just go read file, and we will read the file name, right, so this is the file we're reading, and we're going to read that into the current line variable. Right, and then what we can do, and I mean, you know, we could have another variable storing kind of the current line's item ID, but, you know, we can also directly just do it here using left. So let's say, right, if item num is equal to left of current line, and again, this is just going to be the first 4 characters, right, well, then we can just, yeah, then we can return false. Right, because, well, this means the item number already exists, you know, therefore it's not a new file, so we return false. Okay, and then if we just go end if, yeah, that while should be okay. Then let's just go close file. Right, that'll be file name, and then here we can just return true. And I mean, basically this is like linear search, but, you know, of a file. because what we're doing is, well, if if we find it, we return false. And I guess in this case, of course, if we've looped through every line and not found it, well, that means it must be a new file, or I guess, yeah, it must be a new item, right? So in that case, we return true. Right, so hopefully there's no mistakes. I'm just going to test this. Let's go check new item. And for the line, I mean, let's just copy this first line. And I mean, yeah, if we want, we could actually give it like a different, supplier code. I mean, I don't know, yeah, like maybe hard drive. Let's just say like, yeah, new description. Although actually, none of this matters, right? Because the only thing that matters are these first 4 characters. So if we run this, I mean, this should return false, right? Because, well, this item code already exists. Yeah, okay. And it says was not closed, use closed file. Okay. So yeah, that's saying here, well, we've returned false. But I guess we would also want closed file here as well. Because, yeah, of course, hang on. Right, otherwise it's going to exit the function here, or return from the function, and of course, yeah, we would never actually close the file, right? So that's probably a common mistake that a lot of people might make. Alright, so yeah, here we get a false and we get no error, which is good. And then, I mean, let's just try, I don't know, like 9, right? This should say true because I guess, yeah, 9 doesn't exist. Yeah. Alright guys, so again, hopefully this makes sense. I mean, any questions, alright, ask in the comments or ask on Discord, and hope to see you again in the next video.